Hello friends, this is Rajiv Kumar and this is going to be my first video on YouTube on the topic accounting and introduction to ERP, nothing but enterprise resource planning and SAP software as such. So before I get into the topic, let me introduce myself. I am Rajiv Kumar. I have done my graduation BBM and then MBA I have done from ICFA University, and currently I am working as lead consultant in Infosys. And prior to this I have worked with IBM, I have worked with Accenture, Capgemini, Invenio LSI and Systems Plus Private Limited. So these are the companies where I have worked with, and these are all in SAP. Prior to that I have worked with HDFC Bank and put together 16 plus years of work experience I have, and in SAP 10 and a half years of experience I hold. So this is a very short introduction of myself. Now let's get into the topic of accounting. So let us first understand what the accounting is all about. What is an account? And these are the things which you see on the screen is we are going to cover up, and then there are other topics as well which we are going to cover up in today's session. So if I scroll down, you can see all these things. These are the terms. uh, we will get to know the meaning of it. So accounting is basically is the process of recording the financial transactions, or you can also say the business transactions, or something transaction in which monetary things are involved with regard to a particular business as such, because here we will talk purely from the business perspective, and this business can be an entity, it can be a company, it can be an individual, it can be a partnership firm, it can be a sole proprietorship firm, it can be any. There are various variety of companies as we know, right? So it will apply to any kind of business as such. So this is all about the accounting part. Now let us understand what is an account, or what we call it as an account. So in the very simple form, it can be called as something like book. Like in a notebook you keep on noting down all your transactions, right? It can be considered as a ledger. And if somebody asks you, please define the account in the most simple form, so for that let me take you to see how what an account looks like. So account is basically, it will be considered as, let me select the black color, and yes, let me take this. So it will be basically like a T-shaped structure, as you can see here. On the left hand side it is called as, I will say, debit, and on the right hand side it is called as, this is a short form my friends, called as credit. So debit and credit, and obviously it will have then various kind of entries which will the different entry transactions, and it will carry the amount also as such. Okay, likewise I'm just giving just to some examples to show you, to make you understand how this looks like, right? And at the end of it, then you will do the total. So whatever is the value, same way it will go for the credit as well. It is not just for the debit, credit also goes in the similar fashion. So I am just putting it, this cross represents the amount. Okay, and then at the bottom again it will have the credit figure, whatever is the total, and then net of the things will happen. As you can see, it looks like a T-shaped structure. One side is, left side is debit, and right side is called as credit. So this way if you explain, anybody can understand what is an account as such. Okay, this is also called as general ledger account. Okay, now let's get into the other topic what we have. Now we will go into the accounts, types of accounts. So types of accounts, we have basically three type of accounts. As you can see, we have personal, nominal and real. Now you may ask, how do I identify whether an account belongs to either of the three categories? How do we identify? What is the identification? So let me give you very short way or very quick way to identify account belongs to which of the three types mentioned here. See, if any account is there which contains a name of anybody, it can be company's name or it can be also a person name, as the case may be. In that case, if any account will have a name, it suppose it is Ram's account, Shyam's account, Mohan's account, company X account, all these accounts will be considered as your personal account. Now coming to the nominal account side, so in nominal things you only have two type of accounts. Either it will be an expense or loss, or it will be income or gain. Only these four varieties of accounts. If any account you find that it is an expense account, for example mobile bill, electricity bill, water bill, any kind of bill which you pay, credit card bill, all these will go under your nominal account. And suppose you are getting some income like interest income, dividend income, investments income, and any kind of, and even for example if you are maintaining your account on a personal basis, even your salary is an income to you. But since here we are talking about business point of view, so that way suppose you are giving selling some goods and services, right? So in that case you are generating sales, right? Sales is what? Sales is a revenue account. So revenue is coming under, all will come under your nominal account, right? So this is how you will identify whether it is a, and if you are incurring some loss, suppose there is some bad debts, so where the bad debts will go? So bad debts also will come under your nominal account. Now coming to the real accounts, the real accounts identification is very easy. Anything, or I will say any item which you can see, feel or touch. Okay, any such kind of account where you can see, feel or touch, so those accounts are considered as real accounts. For example, any kind of asset, any kind of asset is a real account. It can be your laptop, it can be your desktop, it can be your mobile. These things you can see, right? Now I will tell you what is feel and touch factor of it. Suppose take example of copyright. If I ask you, please show me where is your copyright, how you will show it? Copyright is not something which you can show. But that does not mean that copyright is not there. So these things you can only feel, right? So likewise we have lots of things like goodwill we have, you cannot see it. If I say developed software also you cannot see it from your eyes, right? So all such things will be considered as your real accounts. Now we will talk more about financial things, like we have also called as something called as balance sheet and profit and loss account. These two are basically the financial statements a company is expected to prepare over a period of a financial year and publish it for the general public to see, and not just public, anybody can see it. And this is, they are all bounded by the rules and regulations in the country in which they are operating this business, correct? So this is how it is. So balance sheet basically contains your assets and liabilities side, and profit and loss account basically contains your incomes and expenses. As you can see here, these are the four items belongs to these two statements. Okay, then we also have something called as final accounts. We also have something called as trial balance. So final account is where you just note down all the different heads of incomes and expenses together in a particular format, which is called as final account. It will contain all kind of financial transactions happened over a period of time, rather within a one financial year as such, and that is how then you prepare your final accounts. Your trial balance will be like, it will be the balances of all the general ledger account what you have, and arranged in a little bit in a better manner, I will say. Okay, then we also have something called accounting principles. As you can see mentioned over here clearly, IFRS, GAAP, IN GAAP. So I will now talk about accounting principles. What are the accounting principles? So these are the accounting principles given by the various statutory authorities, and lot of things are applicable worldwide. For example, IFRS is International Financial and Reporting System. That is what is the full form of IFRS, right? And GAAP, GAAP, GAAP means Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, right? And then that I have written IN gap as well. So IN gap is means India specific generally accepted accounting principles. That is the meaning of IN gap. So these are nothing but the various accounting principles a company is supposed to follow while preparing their balance sheet, profit and loss account, and even at the time of recording their day-to-day transactions. So these are the set of rules and regulations a company is supposed to follow with regard to the business transactions. Now, if we talk about balance sheet, on the balance sheet, one side you will find assets and one side you will find liabilities. Usually, if it is in a T-shaped structure, as let me go back to the sheet where I was just talking about. So suppose, for example, let me open a new screen as such. Take example of this, okay, and take example of this, right? This also will have to tally something like this, right? Let me just complete it. So usually on the left hand side, it is at this place they write it as like liabilities. Okay, so for that it will be what is called as B slash S, balance sheet, right? And if you say how it will be considered as, so okay, let me just clear it up and let me quickly just show you by writing it better instead of doing this. Liabilities, right? And on this side you will have assets. Okay, so okay, so this is how your balance sheet will look like. Again, it will have lot of, as I said, it will have lot of your entries at all places, and everything will have the value also, right? Same will go for the liability side as well. End of the place, these two places, as you can see, it this the whatever is the value over here, this should tally. Okay, this is very important, this must tally. Now coming to the another point called as profit and loss account. So profit and loss account also will look like in the similar fashion. On one side it will have, on the left hand side usually we keep expenses, and on the right hand side we usually keep the all the income related income and gains related GL accounts. And the conclusion of P&L account gives us either the net profit or the net loss, as the case may be. If you, that will tell you whether your business is running in profit or whether your business is incurring the loss. Now, with regard to the income, I would like to mention that there are two type of incomes usually a company can have. It will be either operational income or non-operational income. You might ask, what is the difference between the two? So operational income means if a business is earning its revenue by way of its normal course of selling goods or services what it is intended for, in that case that kind of income is called as operational income. But suppose company is earning its income other than their normal course of business. For example, suppose company has sold one asset and then made some profit out of it. So that kind of profit will not be considered as operational income. It will be considered as non-operational income. For example, company has made some investment and made some profit out of that investment over a period of time. So that kind of income also will be considered as non-operational income for the company. Okay, now again a very important topic which particularly I would like to say is accrual and deferral. These two terms you will hear many a times, and these two terms are very frequently used also in the accounting world as such. So accrual means any amount of money that have been earned or spent but not yet paid. Okay, so let me give you a example which will explain you how it works. Take example, suppose you are going to get a bonus at the end of the year. Okay, so if bonus is coming at the end of the year, company will not just collect, suppose 12,000 rupees, 1000 rupees, suppose 12,000 rupees is your overall bonus amount which you are going to get at the end of the year. So company will has to pay only at the year end, right? But what company will do is every month 1000 rupees it will collect and keep it into one separate account, and it will keep on storing that amount. Each month 1000 rupees it will store, and at the year end it will pay you. That means company is accruing it but not yet paid it. When the time will become due, that time it will pay you. Till then it will be only getting accrued but will not be paid. That is happening in case of accrual. Now coming to the deferral part, this is again a very interesting concept. In case of deferral, what happens is it can be either company's prepaid expenses or it can be company's prepaid revenue. So let me give you example for one for expenses and one for revenue as well. Take example of insurance. Insurance is usually taken for a 1 year time, right? Take the company, think that company has taken 1 year's insurance for their office premises, right? Suppose 12,000 rupees is the premium, but company has paid this entire money in advance. But can they charge that entire 12,000 in the very first day of the year? No, they cannot. Why? Because this amount is meant for 1 year, not for the just one day. So what they do is, this is called as a prepaid expense because you are paying in advance before you avail any goods or services against it, right? So every month company will keep on charging that amount 1000 rupees per month, and it will keep on reducing it. So actual expense will be getting booked every month 1000 rupees, and at the year end it will become completely nil. So this was the example for your prepaid expenses. Now you may ask, what is the deferral revenue? Okay, so let's go to the deferral revenue part. In case of deferral revenue, what usually happens is, take example of a subscription. Take example of suppose you have taken a subscription of a magazine for 1 year. and you have paid 1200 rupees for that. So the company who is giving you that particular magazine will not be in a position to declare that entire 1200 rupees as their income on the day one of the financial year. How they will do it? They will release you first monthly magazine. They will deliver you at your end. Then they will do the invoicing of for that particular item, and once they raise the invoice against it, then 100 rupees they will deduct from your total subscription amount, and then that 100 rupees will become their actual revenue. Till then it is not a revenue for them, it is actually a liability for them. Revenue uh, is will be something kind of considered as uh, direct money in hand. Till then it will not be considered as an asset till it becomes a revenue. The moment you have generated the revenue, then it is your like something like cash in hand, right? Okay, so this is about the accrual and deferred. One important thing which we have missed out somehow while explaining these things, we have also something called as golden rules of accounting. So in case of golden rules of accounting, what happens is, for the three types of accounts which we have discussed about, we have three different rules which is being used worldwide. So these rules are generic in nature and used across the globe. So in case of a personal account, you will always debit the receiver. Receiver means somebody who receives it, and the one who will give that amount, that person will get the credit. So debit the receiver, credit the giver. In case of a nominal account, what will happen is debit all expenses. If any expenses are there, that will go on the debit side of the account, and if any income and gains are there, then that will go into the credit side of the general ledger account. Now coming to the real account is, the rule says debit what comes in and credit what goes out. So for that I will suggest to all of you to study well, okay, and do some practice, create some normal accounting entries, and all these things are definitely going to help you a lot. I hope this point is clear to you. Now we will get into some other topics which we have discussed initially. If you remember, we had accounting, so this part now we have covered. Now we will be getting into introduction to ERP and the SAP in particular. Okay, let's go there. So ERP, okay, so what is the full form of ERP? ERP full form is enterprise resource planning. Now you will ask, what all the resources of a company? So there is a concept called as 5 M's. Probably you might have read somewhere, or you might have read in during your studies as well. So 5 M's are nothing but man, material, machines, methods, and money. These 5 are called as 5 M's of the business. Okay, so so ERP is enterprise resource planning, a software which helps you to manage the resources of a company in a better way, or in a more productive and useful way. That kind of information technology setup is called as ERP. Okay, now now let me give you some examples of ERP as such. We have many such examples as you can see over here. We have SAP, we have Oracle, we have Tally, we have JD Edwards, we have BAN, we have MS Dynamics. MS means Microsoft Dynamics, okay? We have Workday, and there are many more. The list is very long, I will say. So list is not pretty so small as such. So before I go into that, let me also tell you a little bit more about how the computer development and all other things have started coming into the picture. In the year 1941, first computer was made, and in the 1980s, Mr. Bill Gates have introduced personal computers. by way of DOS, otherwise also called as disk operating system. Then the time came for the mainframes. We had servers, which is into two different varieties. We have is Windows and Linux. And then we also had something called as system architecture. What is called as system architecture, right? We have single tier architecture, we have two tier architecture, and then we also have three tier architecture. In the three tier architecture, your presentation, application and database, as you can see, all three will be completely segregated with each other, and it will have a separate identity as such, right? And nowadays the latest thing which has come into the picture is called as cloud. I will come to that cloud part later on, but let me first talk about the presentation. Means the thing which you see on your screen. Anything which you see on your screen is called as a presentation. Applications are nothing but the programs which runs at the background of the presentation screen, or maybe on a server, to give you that particular output which you see on the screen. And database is a place where all the data, whatever you see on your screen, are stored in the electronically over there, and that is what is called as database. What is the data? And some examples of databases like MS SQL, we have Oracle, and we also have something called as HANA. Okay, HANA also is a database. This is also called as in-memory database, because the functionality of RAM and database is now being merged together, and that is why it is called as HANA in-memory database. Clear? Okay. Now we'll go to our other topics which we have to cover up. We have quite a lot of things. So let us start from the SAP side now. So SAP is also one of the ERP what we have, but SAP is the world leader in the ERP segment. Okay, and SAP has customers across the globe. That is why SAP skill sets are very much in demand across industries, across geographies, across locations, and across companies. Okay, so okay, let's understand the meaning of SAP. If somebody asks you, okay, tell me what is the what is SAP is, what SAP does. So what SAP does is systems, applications and products in data processing. That is the full form of SAP. That is the abbreviation of SAP, right? So just remember that part. Now let's start from the history of SAP side. In the year 1972, 5 ex-IBM engineers have actually set up this company SAP. It is also called as SAP AG. Actually, the name is called as SAP AG. It is not just SAP, it is called as AG. AG means corporation, and AG is a German word. Please understand, AG is a German word as such. So it was established in 1972 by 5 ex-IBM engineers, and then they first time launched R1. R1 means real-time one layer software of ERP, first SAP system in the year 1972. The next version was launched in the year 1979. I think there is a mistake I have typed here. Let me just correct it. It was a two-tier architecture, okay, and in the year 1993 they have launched for the very first time real-time three-tier architecture. Okay, so let me show you how the real-time three-tier architecture was looking like. It was looking like something like this. Let me just show you. As you can see, SAP GUI presentation layer I was talking about, application servers, and then we also have database. These are the servers which will process your data by way of applying various programs. These are nothing but your presentations, so it will show you, it will have monitor and it will show you the screens, and these are the places where your data is actually stored in the electronic format, right? So this is also called as system, this is also called as the system architecture. So this is very important to understand how the SAP system works and how the what is the architecture of the SAP system. Okay, now let's go back. And sometime in the year 2004, first time this ECC has come into the picture. It is called as Enterprise Central Component. Okay, and the first version was called as 5.0 in the year 2005. Then next version has come ECC 6.0. Okay, and after 6.0 there was one more concept which has brought in by SAP called as EHP. It is also called as enhancement package. That is a short form and this is the full form. Okay, in ECC we have got in total 8 versions, right from number 1 all the way till number 8. So total 8 versions we have. After 8, SAP has stopped developing it in the ECC platform and then they have moved on to the S4 HANA system. Right? HANA is as a database was launched back in the year 2011, but HANA add-on as a front screen, nothing but your presentation server kind of thing, was launched in the first time in the year 2015 February, and that version was called as uh, 1503, SAP S4 HANA 1503 version. Okay, the latest version is what SAP S4 HANA is called as S4 HANA 2022. Next year again the latest version will be launched, which will be called as SAP S4 HANA 2024, because in the current setup SAP has decided to launch their one complete package in every 2 years. Earlier they were launching every year, but now the rule got changed. So that's how the scenario is as of now. The training system which usually SAP provides for the people to learn how the software works is called as IDES system. The full form of IDES is called as International Demonstration and Education System. That is the full form of IDES system. Now we will talk about little bit table driven customization. Table is what is a table? Table is nothing but a combination of rows and columns, as you can see. So this is also called as a table, right? So R3 was the first software which has brought in the concept of table driven customization. That means whatever data you create in the system will be getting stored somewhere in the table level, and it will, if you want to see them, it will also reflect you at the table level. You can just run the program, it will show you the details on what all things are stored in that particular table. Now one last thing and one very important thing is, in S4 HANA you have two options available. In ECC you had only one option. You have to go always on premise. On premise means the entire infrastructure setup to run the SAP system at your end will be borne by the company who is operating it. Okay, so that means all the maintenance cost, infrastructure setup cost, data center cost, server cost, and all maintenance cost, right? All these things will be borne by the company itself, and it will be set up at the company's premise itself. So that is why it was called as on-premise. But in S4 HANA, other than having this option, you also have an option called as on-cloud. On-cloud means the same kind of facility will be given to you, but server will not be residing in your premise. Server will be handled and managed by some third-party company. They will give you the access to that server and you will be able to use the services, and for that to have, you will have to pay the subscription charges to that company. So that is, this kind of functionality is called as on cloud. So this cloud also has various varieties. So right now we are not going very deep into it, we have to cover a couple of other things as well. So that's why we are just cutting it short at this point of time. We will come back to that at a later on. later stage, or rather I will say. Now, I hope this introduction to ERP, SAP and all other things, whatever you can see, you have understood it. Now, I will particularly talk about, there is something called as system landscape, or it is also called as configuration pipelines. So basically, system landscape is a basically landscape where systems are getting connected with each other. In general, you will have minimum three systems: development, quality and production. Otherwise, you can also have sandbox and pre-production system as well, depending on client to client. And not only that, in the system landscape, non-SAP systems are also connected to the various other systems including SAP. So system landscape in the broader term is basically a bundle of systems connected with each other, working for a single company. So these are the things will be coming under your system landscape. I hope the meaning of system landscape is clear. Let me give you one example of the system landscape. How it will look like is, uh, sorry, not this, not this. Excuse me. So can you see, this is the GUI logon pad details. If you see, dev, quality and production, the three systems you have, right? But it is not necessary that you will always have three systems. You can have more systems as well. And this version of GUI, which is also called as graphical user interface, is 770 versions. In the market, as per my understanding, up to 780 is available in the market. So this, which can be used by the company. Okay. Now we will talk about two more important items: OLAP and OLTP. You will ask, what is OLAP and what is OLTP and why we need to learn it. The important concept here is, OLAP means Online Analytical Processing System. So this system is mainly used for the reporting purpose. This is not meant to do the transaction, or maybe not used for day-to-day transaction purpose. That kind of system it is. For example, BW or BI, right? In those systems, you will generally not post any direct transaction or data as such. And OLTP is nothing but your online transaction processing system. For example, ECC. ECC was meant for OLTP. OLTP ECC was basically a OLTP system. It was not meant for reporting system. That is why we used to have lot of background jobs which used to send the data from ECC system to the BW or BI system, and from there the various kind of reports and other things were getting generated. But in S4 HANA system, this OLAP and OLTP are sitting together. Actually, both functionalities are merged together in the system, and that is how it is also called as, uh, this is why it is called as a better system when compared to the ECC system. Plus, remember that in OLAP, OLTP, ECC was the system. For OLAP plus OLTP, as for HANA is the solution given by the SAP system. Now, we will talk something more with regard to the various modules SAP is giving to us. What all things, what all the importance of modules? Please remember, this is not the entire exhaustive list of all the SAP modules. These are the modules. I have just noted it down, but the list is very long. Almost, I think, anything between 300 to 400 modules are available with regard to various industries, various uh, point of view, and for the various purposes as well. So we have from the And we have basically, if we categorize all the modules of SAP, it is, you can categorize it by way of three different major categories. Either it will be functional, or it will be technical, or it can be a techno-functional. There is one more variety you can think about is industry specific solutions. I think I have missed to write it here. It is called as IS solutions. For example, IS retail. Okay, and likewise there are many IS. This is not a small list, this is a big list rather, I will say. So functional side we have finance, nothing but FI, controlling, nothing but CO, and these two together is called as FICO. Okay, then we have SD. In the SD, your marketing and other things also will come over here. You have HR, your human resource, materials management, quality management, plant management, project systems, uh, financial services. I have written it like financial services, but okay, and we'll come to that. In otherwise, we also have FSCM, Ariba, success factors, HCM. HCM is human capital management. Okay. Now coming to the technical side. Technical side we have basis, nothing but the system administrators, ABAP, but the programming language. This is generation 4 programming language. We have PIPO. These are nothing but the integrators of SAP with regard to other systems. We have boards, we have ETL, we have EDI, and we also have Fiori. This Fiori is available only in S4 HANA system. Fiori is not available in the ECC system, and this is another way of logging in into the SAP system, which will be a browser based system. Okay. Now you can think about techno functional as SCM. SCM is nothing but supply chain management, right? So these are the various modules of SAP what we have. So that's it from my end for today's session. Today is my first video, so I request you all to like it and kindly subscribe my channel. I will keep bringing such kind of videos going forward, and it will be knowledge enhancement for you. And please do comment, share your thoughts. If you have a query, you can make a comment on the same. And that's it from my end for today. I am just winding up and wish you all a very happy learning. Thank you.